Yes, good morning, everyone. I hope you are able to hear me and you are able to watch my screen. So yesterday we have completed first demo. I have already uploaded into this YouTube channel, RTL Online Training and Placement. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe the channel to get the latest updates. Now today we are going for second demo session. Last session we talked about different options in the cloud and what is cloud, what are different cloud companies we have, and who are the competitors, what is Fusion applications, what is Fusion HCM, different modules in HCM. This is all we have discussed in a study class. Right. Now, today we are going to discuss in Fusion applications, HCM, human capital management. It's divided into how many offerings. In these offerings, what are the modules we have? What are different modules we have in every offering? How we can view this license or subscription? Where do we find the subscription? For example, you join in the project and you don't need to ask your team leader and project leader. Once they give the license to you, means access to the application, you can log in and go ahead with checking off the subscription, the modules which your client has subscribed for the application. And what are the different versions? Releases. Versions are releases, we can call it. Updates we can find over here. It is. That's what we are trying to find out here. We'll be discussing about this, and after that we are going to discuss about FSM, functional setup manager. We'll talk about what is security console, what is security console, and then we will be discussing about the user creation. We'll go for create a user and how we can log in, and then we will go for creation of implementation project. We are going to discuss what is implementation project, what it contains, how to create. This is what we are going to discuss in the next level. Okay. So first we'll look into the applications. Fusion HCM. What is meant by offerings? Offerings are nothing but the modules, group of modules or group of features the client is going to get from Oracle. So from Oracle. If we talk about HCM offerings, we have three types mainly. Workforce deployment, workforce development, compensation management. All these three we have. Let's log into the applications. Let's log into the applications. Now go to user menu here. Once we go to user menu, option called setup and maintenance. Go to setup and maintenance. Setup and maintenance. Here I can see the list of offerings which Oracle is providing for the customers. Depends on the requirement, our client is going to subscribe to the application. Maybe they want to maintain the students' information. For example, there is a university having some thousands of students. They wanted to maintain all their students' information. Then they can find student management, sales and service, recruiting and candidate experience, public sector planning and zoning, public sector permits, public sector code enforcement, public sector business licenses, project financial management. Like this, we will find order management, marketing. I'm getting list of offerings here, but if we go to actions menu, go to offerings. We will find here the offerings with icons. We are going to find the offerings with icons here. Compensation management. We are talking about now human capital, right? Human capital management. As we discussed, there are three: compensation management, workforce deployment, and workforce development. Three offerings are there. The moment when we click on this particular offering, right side, we will come to know whether your client is subscribed or not. Here we'll come to know that whether it is enabled or not. Right, here I can find whether it's enabled, and we can also find related documents. Means what are the features available in this particular workforce deployment feature, and what are the tasks we are supposed to perform. Task list is nothing but a menu. Task is nothing but a page, or we can call it as one setup. And what are the business objects we are supposed to configure here related to enterprise applications over here. We can find same thing. Workforce development we can find over here. This is public sector, financials, procurement, sales, help desk, fusion accounting hub, customer loyalty, order management, nothing but a sales. We'll find all those options here. Student management, this all we are going to find out. Here it is. Okay. When it comes for HCM, as we discussed, mainly three things. One is compensation management. Another one is workforce deployment and development. Deployment and development. Okay. So whenever we go for compensation management here, when we take compensation management, we'll find mainly two modules. One is compensation. Another one is benefits model. We are going to have compensation and benefits model. When we say workforce deployment, global HR, payroll, absence management, time and labor, means OTL. Time and labor means OTL. Individual compensation. Individual compensation. We talk about deployment. It mainly contains the talent management module, nothing but a goal management, performance management, talent review, succession management. But all are simple modules. We don't find much complexity here. It's very simple. All these four modules, we call it as talent management. One more module is there, profile management. It comes under global area. Excuse me. So whenever client wants to implement HCM, so let's say your client is ICICI Bank, as we discussed. So this client is having 35,000 employees. Now they must go for a global HR. It's mandatory. Global HR is mandatory. Without global HR, we cannot implement Fusion HCM to the client, because in this module only we are going to design the organization structure, nothing but a company hierarchy. What is head office? What is registered office? What are the branches they have? What are the ledgers they are using? Which legislation they are using? Legislation means country. Which currency they are using? This all will configure here only. So without global HR implementation, there is no question of human capital management application. So it's a mandatory. Here itself will hire employees, will manage the employees, will transfer, global transfer, reverse the termination and go for terminate employees, mass termination, mass update, and also employee approvals, everything will configure here. Now the client wants to maintain the employee salaries also. Which module? Payroll. 35,000 employees. Each employee has got different salary structure, different elements, right? Some employees are getting allowances, some employees are not getting allowance, some employees get bonus, some people are not getting, some employees will have some deductions, some people are not having. So every employee salary structure is different: basic salary, bonus, tax deductions, PF, EFIC, this all. So all these things needs to be calculated and needs to be paid and distributed to the employees successfully end of the month. In some countries, end of the week. In some countries, end of every 2 weeks. It depends. If it is USA, weekly payroll also will be there, right? So that's why payroll module is very important, critical also. So these two modules client can go for implementation if they just want to maintain their employees and as well as employee salaries. They don't need other modules. If client has decided, yes, I want to maintain my employee leaves information also here, leave management. I have different leave plans like vacation plan, sick leave, maternity, paternity leave, and paid leaves, donation leaves, agreement leaves. Like that, we have different plans. And some people are eligible and some people are not eligible. I would like to go for configure that leave management module so that my employees, when they log into the application, they can apply for a leave and managers will go ahead with either approval or reject. They can take a decision. This is all information. It's nothing but another module, options management. Okay. So it's up to the client requirement whether they want one module or two or three, depends. Now, of course, they can go for global HR and payroll in the initial stage. Maybe it takes around 6 months time for an implementation. After that, after using another 6 months, they wanted to go ahead with options management. It's up to the client how they wanted to go ahead. Okay. So as soon as your client get subscription or license from Oracle Corporation, generally when client discuss with Oracle, Oracle will give the price and charges, maintenance charges, and this all details they'll give depends on the number of users login. It depends on the number of users login. The cost will be there, and then after that they'll go for number of transactions and usage of the memory and the number of times they have utilized the application and payloads, data transfer. This all they'll be taking care of it. Based on that, they'll give the quotation. Once the client, means your ICICI Bank, once this client come up with, yes, I got the application access and I just wanted to go for. Initially in the application, it will be empty. It will be a fresh instance. You don't find any data. The application is a blank. So all these options will be there. There won't be any data. For example, when I search for the location here, location task, I could find this location task here. Let's go to manage locations. I'm trying to search for the locations. For example, I don't have idea about any location. I can say that location is not blank and click search button. I can see some seeded data provided by Oracle for testing practice purpose. You don't find all this information in the real time. Very first time when client has started using the product, it will be a fresh instance, means database will be empty. We are supposed to do all these setups. When we are doing the setups, we have to do it in the sequence order. For example, you are trying to create an employee and department. So we'll go for employee creation first or department creation. First, we have to create a department, because department is the parent object. Then we will go for create employee, because employee is the child object. How we can decide which one is parent and which one is child? While creating department, employee does not require. But when you are creating employee, department name mentioned. We are supposed to mention department name, right? Like that, we have to understand what is the parent object and what is the child object or dependent object or master object and detail object, like that. That itself is one of the implementation business flow for a particular module that we have to learn first. Whatever the module we are going to learn, first we have to learn the business flow of that particular module. There itself will come to know, okay, this is parent and this is child. First we have to complete this one. Later only we have to go for this. You work for any client, the same structure we have to follow. There is no question of, maybe if you will create multiple records with the different values, but the structure will be similar, right? So like that, the client, once they get the access from Oracle, they'll go for call for biddings from the supplier companies, like who are providing the IT services. Let's say TCS is there and Wipro we have, and we have Tech Mahindra, like this. Like these companies are there, right? So all these companies are vendors. They are providing the IT services to the clients across the world. Now, even the client can go ahead with Oracle also. It's like as simple as you buy a car, and to provide the accessories, you can give your car either in the showroom or you can give it outside. It's up to your decision. Same thing, when client buy the product, they would like to go for implement that product for their business. So either they can give it for Oracle itself. Oracle will do that work, consulting and services and implementation. Or there are a number of suppliers who are Oracle partners. They are having licensed partnership from this company. So we can go for give the access to them also. They'll start work. For example, your client has decided to give the project for TCS. Then what TCS will do? TCS will start hiring the functional consultants as well as technical consultants. They'll start hiring functional and technical. Earlier it was their DBA, but nowadays the DBA part has been moved into the cloud, and Oracle company will take care of that. The client no need to worry. 0% tension about the DBA activity. When we are working in the cloud projects, no question of DBA, because entire server 24/7 will be taken care by the cloud company. Means right now, who is cloud company? Oracle. Oracle is the cloud provider, right? Their cloud means the server, application, database, everything they will maintain. Okay. So here there will be two different jobs we'll find, functional and technical. So the client will start, this company will start hiring the employees and start doing the implementation. They'll go for implement the project for 6 months or 7 months, depends on the complexity and number of team size. And we will find here the result. And after that, obviously, there will be a support and maintenance. These all things will be going on. Okay. So this is about the initial, what is offerings and what are the modules, and how the client will go for subscriptions. How will we find out? Okay. Is clear, everybody? Any doubts you have, please? Is clear, everyone? Any doubts you have, please let. Next, we are going for versions or releases in the product. Versions and releases and updates about Oracle Fusion product. So Oracle Fusion applications, it started with release 7. I started working with release 7 in 2014. In 2014, release 7 was there. I started working with that. After that, we got release 8 version. Then we got release 9, release 10, release 11. Release 11 has got excellent success in 2016. In 2016, we got excellent feedback. Then Oracle has provided release 12, release 13 in 2018. After that, there is no question of releases, release 13 only. Every year there will be an update in the product. Generally, release, what is the meaning of release? For example, in 2016, Oracle has sold the product to the customers, let's say around 1000 customers. They sold the product to 1000 customers. All these customers, what they do, once they buy the product, they'll start using the product. They'll first go for implement, starting using. During implementation, during usage, they may find some problems, bugs, new features, expectation, feedback. All these things, they'll give it to Oracle. Oracle will take the feedback from the clients and they'll try to resolve all those issues and try to provide all these new features. A research department will be there. They'll start providing this to the next level. That will be a next release. Like that, in every version or release, there will be a new updates and old, any bugs or issues are there, those things will be closed. And then after 2018, after release 13, what Oracle has done, they don't want to go for change the release name. They want to keep it as it is, release 13. But they wanted to go for update 18A, 18B, 18C, 18D. 4 quarters will be there for every year, right? Every year there will be a 4 quarters. And we are going to have this every year. 18. A means first quarter, B second quarter, C means third quarter, and D means fourth quarter. Every year, 4 times Oracle will give the updates on the product. So here, right now, which year we are working? Right now, which version we are working? Release 13. 22A this year, 22B, 22C, 22D. Right now we are in November 2022, means fourth one, November 2022. It means we are in fourth D, 22D, fourth version we have, fourth quarter. Okay. So when they ask you in the interview also, which version you are working right now? Release 13, 22D update. Version is release 13. This will never change. It is fixed. It will never go. And which update? 22D. They'll tell us that it is 22D. It is. Okay. And now we are going ahead with this 22D. Where do we find in the application? When we log in, go to user menu. Go to about this application. Here we can find 22D. This is the latest version. Next, January 23, what we will get? Latest update, 23A. We'll get 23A. Release is same. Release 13. Release 13 will be there. 23A. We are going to get it. We are going to get it. Okay. So it's clear, everybody? Any doubts? Regarding the release, and last 5 years we are in release 13 only. So when you are applying for a jobs, we can say always release 13. They'll ask us release 13 only we are working, we can say. We don't have any experience release 12 because it was in 2016 and 17. That time we are not working, right? Even if you put 3 years or 4 years of experience, not more than that, right? So our version will be release 13 across the world. Every client should use the same version. If any client says that I will use 22A, Oracle will not accept. Don't worry, I will update. You don't need to pay anything. You don't need to do anything. We are ready to give the latest. There won't be any disturbance to your work. Okay, so let's upgrade your cloud. So as we are connecting to the Oracle servers, obviously, always latest version. So that's why specifically in the interviews, they'll ask you, are you working in 22C or are you working in 22D? So we have to remember, by January 23, what will be the version? 23A. 23A. Okay. There will be some, new features, 1 or 2 features in every product. Okay. In every option. Where do we find these new features? Where do we find these new features in the applications? We have to go to Oracle here. Oracle Fusion Readiness. When you go for Oracle Fusion readiness, here we will find. You can find a mobile app also. This is about financials latest. Every module, what are the new features are there, we will find here. This excellent documentation as given by Oracle. So in human capital management, what new features? HR module, what? Global HR. Talent management, what? New features. In payroll, any new features they have provided here. Okay, so in payroll, this is 22D. Right now we are right. November maintenance pack. This 22D here. We are in 22D. So by January 1st, 23A will be started. So this is about the versions releases as well as the maintenance of this updates here we can find. So it's clear everybody about the second point, versions and releases. Any doubts over here?
So is that mandatory that Oracle has to release update every quarter in future, coming years also?
100%. Lifelong, they have to go for keep on update. Every quarter Oracle will go for, not only Oracle, any cloud company. You take Microsoft Azure, you take AWS, you take Salesforce. Every cloud company, every quarter, they'll try to update their product. That is their credibility and stability. Yes, we are working on the product. We have a research department, and we are taking the feedback from our clients, and we are trying to resolve our bugs and trying to provide new features. And we are taking the suggestions from the clients across the world, and we are trying to make the product is stable in the future, next level, so that they can improve their product, brand value and the support, and the clients also will be impressed, right? That also Oracle is provide, any company will provide free of cost new features.
So no matter whether that feature is applicable to our company or not, but
your voice
have
is
to go with the latest update only.
Latest update, Oracle
no
will
matter
provide.
if that latest.
Oracle will do it. Oracle will do that.
Okay. Although we are
that's not required.
Yeah.
So Oracle will take care of that. Oracle will go for provide the latest update. So we don't need to worry about that. That's the main advantage of this cloud environment.
Sir, like 22D, like 11 dot, 13 dot.
Yes. That is there, some internal release version number will be there. They will have their own versions numbers. So we talked about now the versions and releases and updates. So we discussed that every quarter it's going to be. Next, we are going to talk about FSM. What is FSM and security console? These two we call it as a admin part also. We call these two things. FSM, functional setup manager, security console. So these two things we call it as admin or implementation areas. So whenever we are working in the project, if you do not have the access to the FSM, we cannot perform any setups. It means we cannot do any implementation setups or support or whatever it is. We will not be able to perform those things. Okay, so we have to go with either FSM access and security console access. FSM functional setup manager, security console is used to provide the access to this. These two we call it as admin access, as I said. Where do we find it? So once we log into the applications, let me log out from here. Once we log into the applications, go to user menu here. This setup and maintenance, nothing but FSM. When we click on this option, we will enter into the FSM environment. This environment, we call it as FSM, Functional Setup Manager. Here we are managing the functional setups. Here we are managing the functional setups. We are going to manage the functional setups. Here it is. All functional setups we will be performing over here. Our functional setups we are going to perform over here it is. Okay. Then where is security console? Go to navigator. Go down. Tools menu. Security console. This is security console. So what we will do in security console? In security console, we are going to manage the user's information and we are going to manage the roles information. When I say manage, create, update, delete, all the information, all the things we are going to perform over here it is. Okay, so we are going to perform all the things over here it is. So let's, if we look at users tab, we'll be finding user information and roles information. We can create a role, we can compare the role, we can customize the role, we can assign the roles to the users. Complete user management as well as the roles management we are going to perform over here it is. Okay, so this is about the security console here, security console over here. When I go for user menu setup and maintenance, this is called FSM, Functional Setup Manager. Functional Setup Manager. So if you would like to access these two things for your user, what are the roles are required that we are going to do it. I'm going to show you how to create one user first, how to add this implementation roles so that you can log into FSM as well as security console. So first go to users tab, add user account. So let me show you the navigation again, how we will be providing you the instance like this. We will give you the URL and then we will give username and password. Once we log into the applications, go to navigator, go down, tools menu, security console, go to users tab, add user account, and we have to enter the first name and last name. I'm going to say November HCM, and you'll take the username as first name dot last name by default. If at all you would like to change, you can change, and the password. I'm going to set up this and go for add the roles. As I discussed, every user, whenever we are working in the project, two roles are required to work as a functional consultant or technical consultant. We call it as implementation roles. One is IT security manager, another one application implementation consulting. These two roles are required. Application implementation consultant. These two roles we call it as These two roles, we call it as implementation roles. We call it as implementation roles. So these two roles we will be using whenever we are working as a functional consultant to perform functional setups or technical setups. So here it is. Okay, so now this is our user account, November.HCM. And we added two roles, IT security manager and application implementation consultant. Go for save and close. Now just log out from the current user and log in with this new user. So whenever you are working in our instance, you are supposed to create your own credentials like this. Credentials means your own username and password. Like this, you are supposed to create, and you can start doing the setups over here. Enter the password here. Now we logged in with a new user, November HCM. We added two roles, right? One is application implementation consultant. Because of that role only, you are going to get this option here. If you don't attach that role, we don't find this setup and maintenance option. Same thing, we have added IT security manager. That's why we are able to find tools menu and security console. Tools menu, security console will find here. If you want to make any changes for your user, go to again security console. Go to the tab, users tab, search for your user. Click on this. Your user is active. It is not logged. And the expiration date for this will be on 2nd, 6th. Password expiration. If at all you want to reset the password, you can do it. You want to go for add some roles or remove the existing roles, we can do it from here. Click edit, and we'll be able to find here, delete, add the roles like that. This is user management and role management we'll be doing in the security console. Then in FSM, we'll be doing the functional setups. As we are discussing, 90% of our work will be here in FSM environment. Functional setup manager. Functional setup manager. Here we'll find 90% of our work. We'll be doing the functional setups here only. Okay. So whenever we are doing the setups, we have to choose that particular module and start doing the setups here. So what we will do is first we will group our modules. That is what we call it as the implementation project. So what is implementation project? Implementation project is nothing but a group of modules which we are implementing for our client. Let's say our client is decided to implement two modules, global HR and payroll. Okay. We have to select those two modules in the implementation project and start doing the setups. Once we perform the setups, if at all we want to export and import the setups from one instance to another instance, we can do it from here. This is required when we are working in the real time. First, we will do the setups in development instance. And once we do that, then we will move all those setups. We call it as a migration. We'll migrate all these setups from development to testing and from testing to production, right? So that we will do it from here, export and import. Purging is nothing but a deletion. If at all you would like to delete any of your setups in a proper methodology, we'll follow the purging option. Okay. So after uploading export and import options, if you want to review the process, if you want to review the status of that export or import, we'll do that from here. Let me create one implementation project. So what is implementation project? It's a group of modules which we are implementing for our client. We are going to perform the setups over here. We are going to perform the setups over here. So click on this. I'm giving the implementation project is also same November HCM implementation project. And let's say client has decided to complete this by 31st March 2023. That's a just expectation. So after that, they can go for extend. It's not a problem. So that's how they decided to go ahead with this implementation project. Click next button. Now this is our implementation project, what we are going to create. Now what system is asking us, what are the offerings you want to implement for your client? We discussed that human capital management means there will be 3 offerings. What are that? Compensation management. Compensation management. There are 2 more. What are those? Workforce deployment. Workforce development. Workforce deployment and workforce development. Right now, client wants to implement 2 modules, global HR and payroll. Let's say only they want to add implementation of 2 modules. Global HR by default, it will be there. Global HR by default, it will be there. We don't need to select. As I said, it is mandatory. By default, it will be available in your implementation project. Global HR by default, it will be there. Additionally, we want to go for add payroll. So where we will find that here, deployment. Check this. Whenever we check this offering, these are the modules. Here, this is offering workforce deployment. These are the modules we have. Payroll options, scheduling. These all are simple. Compensation, time and labor. Networks, network at work. Network at work is just like employees internal chatting box. They can communicate each and everybody internally. Now I would like to go for implementation of the payroll. Just go for select this payroll. Remaining we don't want right now. Maybe after some time we will go for implement options and all. So like this, in the initial stage, we have to choose what modules you want. I selected only one module, that is payroll. As I said, global HR by default, it will be selected. By default, it will be available, global HR. We can find, right? I'll go for save and open the project or save and close. Let me go for save and close. I'll just show you the navigation part. I just log out from the current user and log in with the new user. Just log into the applications here. Go to user menu, setup and maintenance. Go to task list. manage implementation projects. This is our implementation project. Otherwise, we can search for, here it is. Search button. Select this here. Now, this is our implementation project. We selected here workforce deployment. I have selected only one module, that is payroll setups. Here we can find all those payroll related menu setups, which we have to do it. As I said, global HR, GHR module. This is our global HR. By default, we can see in our implementation project. And of course, default, there will be a security, there will be a reporting and extensions that's related for technical work. It's like an admin related activity we will find over here. That we will find here it is. Okay, so this is how we will go for select this. For example, while creating one implementation project, we forgot the module. We have not selected that module. Then again, you can do it from here. Go for add. And if you don't want, of course, you can delete from here. You can choose the entire offering, or you can go for add particular task list, or you can go for add a particular task. Over here it is. You can go for add a particular task over here it is. One task is nothing but one page. Task list is nothing but a group of pages or group of tasks. We call it as a menu. Generally, we call it as a menu over here, and then we will find offerings over here. Right. That's all it's going to be. So this is about the implementation project. So here it will be able to manage the entire project. What is the project status? Generally, project manager is going to overview, means status of the project. Manager is going to check this. What is the status of the project? How many setups we have to do? How many tasks needs to be completed? This is all we are going to find out over here. And we will find the options here. What are the tasks are assigned to the team members? And what is the resource status, assignment details, and then we are going to find other information over here. Generally, it is like a managing the project. When the project manager is there, let's say there are 5 functional consultants and 3 technical consultants are working in the project. Total 8 members are working in the project. All these 8 members are performing some setups day to day. The project manager would like to know the status of this project. Then it will be specified over here, all these options. Okay, so that's about the implementation project, FSM, and how to create our own user here. So we have seen what is FSM environment, functional setups manage. What we do here, functional setups, we are going to do it. What is security console? It is used to manage the user's information as well as the roles information. It's like a security roles and users. When the organization wants to create the usernames and role names, we have to do that here. And we have seen how to create our own username and password. And we have seen how to create an implementation project. So what is implementation project? It's a group of modules which we want to implement for our client. Right. We'll select those modules and we'll start doing the setups. How many implementation projects we'll find in the real time? Generally, there will be only one. We don't find multiple. We don't find multiple implementation project. Let's say there are 3 functional consultants are working. Whenever they do the setups, immediately system take your username. Who has done this setup? When they have done. All this information will be tracked by the system. Okay. If they wanted to have the history, then we'll find them. even for technical consultant also. Yes. Okay. So these are the topics we have completed in our second demo. This is our demo 2. So how we can do that? So in the demo 3, tomorrow, that will be our final demo session. Day after tomorrow, we'll be starting our regular sessions. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing whenever we are implementing HCM to our client. First, we have to understand the client's organization structure or organization hierarchy. Once we understand that hierarchy, that we have to implement in our application. That is what we call it as enterprise structure configuration. Enterprise structure configuration. We'll do it that tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to perform that activity, which is very important. We'll be performing that part. Okay. So if you have any doubts now, we can discuss. Yeah, please, you can unmute yourself and ask for the doubts.
Sir, hi sir, this is Shiva.
Please go ahead.
Sir, in real time, for a functional consultant, what roles will be having, sir?
Functional consultant, we will be having same security console we are going to have, as well as application implementation consultant, means FSM. Just now I have added, right, these two
Yes,
roles.
sir.
By using these two roles, you can do any functional setup. And after that, if you want to test, then we have to go for add that role. For example, we are going to configure the payroll setups. We have done all the payroll module setups. Once we complete the payroll setups, what we have to do? We have to run the payroll. If you want to run the payroll, that is nothing but a testing. You must add the payroll roles called payroll manager, payroll administrator, payroll specialist. Like that, those roles we have to attach to our username and we have to test it. Okay. So for doing the setups, these two roles are enough for doing the setups, mainly FSM here only. This is just to manage user and roles here. But for testing, depends. For example, you are testing the options management module. So whatever roles are required for options management module, like employee role, line manager role, that we are going to attach and we'll go for testing. For doing the setups, these two roles are sufficient implementation roles.
Yeah. And also one more question, sir.
Please.
Yes, sir. Like after implementing, like after creating and implementing the project, can we add job and position to that implementation project, sir?
Yes, we can do it.
Yeah.
We can go for it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
So user creation can be done by the functional consultant himself, or else any security team will take care of.
So we have to do it. There is no question of security separate team here. We are going to have both the things.
Sir, for testing of every model, we always need a new user ID, or one user ID will work through it?
We can do it from our user itself. Otherwise, if you say that I'll do the setups from one user and I'm going to do the testing with another login, we can do it both. Or I want to do with the same user setups as well as same user. I want to do the testing. We can do it by adding the roles, and we can perform that.
Okay, sir.
Yes. Generally, we'll do it in different way. We'll have separate one user for implementation. So we are doing implementation setups. Then another employee, generally employee login will go for testing. Employee means our end user.
Okay.
Sir, and also your classes and information in the YouTube are very, very useful, sir. It's actually excellent, sir. And,
Thank you.
It's so much useful.
Thank you. And guys, this is our second demo. and let's see you tomorrow. That's going to be our final demonstration. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your time.